It's funny how AI comes around and every CEO or manager or whatever is talking about more productivity, and yet no one is talking about a 4-day work week. But anyways, that would be too naive, right? But getting to the point, I feel like there's two distinct AI camps. And I don't mean pro AI and anti AI. I mean text-based AI LLMs and visual AI or like diffusion models or whatever they're called nowadays. And they both suck, right? That's sort of my stance on it, but for different reasons. On one hand, you have text AI, mostly writing code, right? And it's decent at doing that. It can like create a website or like a game on 3JS that then people can post on Twitter and say, "Holy shit, we're done. We're going to be replaced." It can rewrite code probably better than it can write code. It can write like documentation, which is just text slop. Honestly, it's mostly bullshit like MCP servers, but it mostly does code and like chatting with people, like in replacing Google, like a search engine. Your boomer coworker that's like, "Oh, I only use ChatGPT now," which is pretty stupid and kind of concerning because I mean, Google has its own chatbot that does the search functionality to a to an egregious degree. Like now you can't Google a question because the AI will take it personally. But I mean, it's a phase, right? It surely has to be a phase. It's good at like analyzing data, and this whole thing with like math. That's what it's. I mean, you can confidently say that AI does suck, and it's kind of like a gimmick. It's like in the Pursuit of Happiness, this machine that Will Smith, like his character, was trying to sell. That seemingly was like an X-ray, but a bit better, but also more expensive. I feel like that's what AI could be perceived as later on. But then again, AI is a lot of things, right? So, like I was talking about text-based AI, LLMs. But on the other hand, you have video and image AI, which has been used to an obscene amount in terms of video ads and even more dogshit small business ads. Like whether it's just marketing on maybe a small business's window where you see a grotesquely detailed milkshake, or maybe scammers trying to pass AI art off as like paintings, a lot of shit posting, right, on like social media, whether it's like hope posting for boomers, nostalgia bait, or I don't know, some sort of like boomer hope core, which is like, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It sucks, but I guess it could be worse. There's a lot of pseudo filmmaking, with this democratization of filmmaking and this resentment towards filmmakers. It's like, oh, now just we prompt everything, but we gatekeep it. So it's like, oh, well, now it's not that filmmaking is hard. It's the writing part, right? So it's like filmmaking is now not gate kept, but we will gatekeep writing. It's like, oh no, that's where we're totally essential, which is like stupid. But I think most pseudo AI filmmakers are either like being paid. I mean, that's a big part of it. Like they're being sponsored by these AI companies that just want their product to succeed. So it's like, let's just have these people gaslight their audiences into thinking that video AI will definitely be the future. I'm gonna get to that point in a bit, and even more ads, right? Like you can't get enough ads in this video format. Also, like shitty music, like where entire bands are just AI generated. I mean, if you listen to that, I don't know what to make of you. Um, but it's mostly social media, right? Social media slop. And I wonder, like, well, obviously the question is, where are we headed with all this, right? And I think about the million and one deaths of cinema. Like video in its original format was like film, movies, not always narrative film, but that's just the way it was born. And with the invention of a lot of things, cinema has been dying, and yet it still lives. Hence the million and one deaths of cinema. Whether it's the TV, and people were like, well, why go to the movies when now I can just watch something for free on TV, or the phone or video games. It's like new forms of entertainment are obviously a threat almost to cinema, and yet it thrives, right? And even with phones, like I used to even hate phones, like not even AI, but like phones and social media and this democratization of anything means that whole medium will be flooded with slop. Like it'll just start to suck, right? So you'll see like obviously back in the day, vlogging maybe was a bit more niche and only certain people would do it. But now you go on Instagram and it's like everyone has like 100,000 followers and they're just kind of recording themselves. There's just a vertical frame where they're in the picture and maybe they have like stupid LEDs in the background or just like their room, and you can see like the subtitles in the thumbnail of every video, and it's just like hundreds of videos of them like reviewing stuff or just saying anything. And it's like, well, now that's it's almost like now that's the bare minimum in for a lot of people if you want to be like, I don't know, in the communication space, in the media space. Now that's what you have to do. But it's just a lot of slop, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't want to be too harsh. I mean, obviously, people certainly derive a lot of value from other people recording their thoughts and experiences, and maybe tutorials or whatever it is that they upload. Um, but the point is now everyone can do it, and with AI, obviously, it's like, well, now everyone can make these intricate looking videos, and I feel like some things should be hard, right? Bit of a tangent, obviously, but some things should be hard to make. Is that like a bad take? I feel like that's a filter, right? If you don't have filters, then you get the slop. Then everything like floods, whether it's social media or YouTube, you get just garbage everywhere. If things were hard to make, like video, right? Whether it's due to the lack of digital mediums or lack of money before that, that would mean that the only people who can make stuff are the ones that can afford to make stuff. But the fact that it costs money would mean that you also try to be good at whatever it is you're making. You're not, but the point is, like, some things should be hard so that more effort is put into them and you just don't get slop everywhere. Uh, so now I ponder AI and video AI and where we're actually going with that. There was like this short film I watched recently called Pomegranate, which is like filmmakers, AI filmmakers with like heavy quotes on that, trying to legitimize the medium of AI as a tool for filmmaking. And it's not even a tool; it's like the whole medium, right? The whole thing is made with AI. It would seem. Um, so what's up with that? I feel like that would become its own medium, right? Now I don't know if it's because of the nature of the AI filmmaking space, but it seems like everything is just like a ripoff of like Love, Death, and Robots, which makes me think, well, maybe AI will become like this thing where it doesn't replace film, despite the fact that it is film in a way. It will be like its own genre, right? It's like its own little thing, like a cheaper version. It's like TV and film, right? Like obviously film has a bigger budget and like more effort put into it and maybe more value, whereas TV can have cheaper productions, which could still be good, but you also get a lot of shit like reality TV and that sort of thing. And then even a cheaper medium currently is social media, and people just recording themselves in their bedroom, giving tutorials on like I don't know how to keep your soda bubbly or something like that. Some random bullshit that. And then even a cheaper form of entertainment is whatever AI produces, right? Which would probably just go in there with the social media stuff. It's like free, instant gratification. There you go. In terms of like AI being used for filmmaking, I wonder if people will just give in. Like CGI has been shit on a lot in the past, right? Whether it's like Marvel movies being just a green screen or previously Star Wars movies being just a green screen. There's a certain cheapness to it, right? That people dislike, and a certain like elements like the uncanny valley where it just doesn't look right. It looks off, right? And the thing is, like AI still looks off, and yet it achieves better results in terms of lighting, in terms of um, I guess faces and that sort of thing. It's truer to life, as messed up as that sounds. So I wonder if it's similar to CGI, where people will just start getting used to it. You know, is it just going to be the same as CGI? Um, Because even currently, like currently, you can find AI movies, or rather, movies that use AI in theaters. Like there's this one about like the Ice Cream Man or something like that that has AI in it, and it's like in AMC theaters, like it's out there. So there is certain momentum to the use of AI for even larger scale productions. And you compare it with CGI, and what I say is like it's not it's easy, right? Like AI usage is easy and kind of stupid. CGI is hard, but what I'm trying to get at is like movies have a certain magic, not only in seeing them, but also as a filmmaker, you look at movies and you think, well, how'd they pull that off? How'd they do that? That's pretty cool. And previously with like DVDs, you would get behind the scenes footage, and a lot of fun stuff that you could use to then dissect the creation of your favorite movie and be inspired to create your own stuff yourself. And obviously with practical effects, like obviously the Lord of the Rings being the biggest example, you would look at it and say, wow, that's cool. They were actually smart in what they did and creative and inspiring. Wow, that's cool. And then when you pivot to CGI, it's like, well, I mean, maybe CGI looks jank in a lot of cases, and a good amount of cases. Maybe not most, maybe most, I don't know. But it's still an art, right? Like the models aren't going to rig themselves, or be modeled on their own. You have to create a model, maybe even create a clay reference, and then create the model, create the rig, do the lighting, maybe some sort of physics simulations for like the hair or the fur, or interactions with like water, like rain or what have you. So there's still effort in that, and that also inspires people. But when you cheapen it all the way down to AI, like when you're watching a movie, right? Let's say you're watching a movie and it's like, wow, that seems really cool. I wonder how they did that. And you look into like the behind the scenes, which is obviously harder now because it's not like Netflix has behind the scenes. They should. That'd be cool. Um, but unless you have like the DVD. But even then, are filmmakers going to say, oh yeah, I just used AI? It's like, oh yeah, I just used like Higgs field or whatever. And it's like we replaced this clip with this clip. Nope, that's it. We just put it into the machine and the machine did it. I don't think that's too inspiring. Like maybe the final result is like decent, but you know what do you take away from that? Um, and then you have the bubble. Like everyone's talking about the bubble. Oh, is it gonna burst? What's gonna happen to AI companies? Blah blah blah. And honestly, what I think will happen is like the hyperscalers the hyperscalers will die, like Anthropic and OpenAI. Those will take a big hit because the bubble bursting will be a result of LLMs that can run locally on your machine, no internet access or anything, and they will be good and fast. And by good, I mean like what we have currently with the frontier models like Opus or uh, whatever, but locally, right? And they'll be good and they'll be fast. So the question is, well, what's going to happen to video? What if it's the same for video? What if you can run like CDance 2.5 or its equivalent on your machine with like, I don't know, 16 gigs of RAM or so? Then what? And I feel like that's the biggest question with video AI. What's going to happen? Will people just live their dreams through fiction? Date their phone? What happens to video as a means of art and communication if now you have infinite video with zero barrier to entry? I could just like type on my phone, I'll create like a little video of like an elf doing a let's play and make it like 30 minutes, and then like it maybe takes like 6 hours or something realistically, but then it actually does it and it looks real and good. You just post it online. Like what happens then? It's even more slop. Is that the million and two deaths of cinema? And then it gets to a point where it's like, well, it's a pointless discussion as to what is art truly. What makes cinema cinema? What makes something good? And can AI be good? Does CGI now also suck because of the pushback on AI, which is something I've seen a lot, right? Like imagine a lot of people just chanting like "fuck AI," yeah, and "fuck CGI," yeah, and then CGI is over here in the corner like, "Hey guys, what the hell did I do? Why are you picking on me?" But that's with the pushback. I don't know if that pushback will last or if people will get used to using AI for everything. I don't know. But just to wrap it up, like one thing I do know, one thing I do believe in is what Orson Welles said. He said, "The enemy of art is the absence of limitations." So if you have a medium, if you have a tool, or whatever you'd like to call it, that can produce anything, right? If you've quote unquote solved video, well, then where's the art?